Well, good morning. It's Tuesday morning, and we're looking at one another's in the Bible. We again saw that last week. Yesterday, we saw not provoking one another. These are, yesterday and today, are going to be the negative of the one another's we should not be doing. And we want to use the same scripture we looked at yesterday. So, Galatians 5 and verse number 26. If you have time to turn there, states this: "Let us not be desirous of vain glory." Okay, empty glory, conceited glory, all about self. Provoking one another, we saw that yesterday. Envying one another. Now, to envy would be to be jealous of, about something, of someone, because of something that they may have. And this jealousy, oh man, I mean, it can reach so many facets of our life, right? So James talks about that, and maybe we'll turn there. Actually, I wasn't planning on it, but the book of James, and he deals with this to the believers that he writes to, and really chides them because of really what they wanted. So it's about envy. So what can we envy? Before we go to James, what can we envy? Well, we can envy someone's. And let's look at if we look at the Old Testament, God even talked about this. We can envy someone else's mate. Man, if I was married to that person, I'd be so much happier. We can envy someone's job, someone's family. We can envy someone's station in life. We can envy someone's possessions that they have. And even their children. Man, I wish my children were like this. If they were, man, my life would be so much easier. We can envy someone's relationship with God. I wish I had God's blessing on my life like they have on theirs, or at least the appearance of it. Someone's intellect, someone's ability to converse with others. And you can see the list just goes on. And this is why the Lord talks about this to Israel, that they should not covet or want what someone else has, because God gives to us the blessings that He desires for us to have. And if we are not receiving His blessing, there's a reason for that. And we need to really take a look at ourselves and look at our walk with God to see, okay, why is it that I'm not receiving God's blessing? Well, let's look what James says as we see this envying. And of course, we find in Proverbs, only by pride cometh contention. So listen to this, James chapter 4, verse number 1. "From whence comes wars and fightings among you? Come they not even hence, even of your lusts, that war in your members?" The lust, again, the word lust means a desire. Now, there are some good lusts to have. For example, my body lusts food, or it desires food. Now, that's not wrong. God's built that into me. Or desires water, or desires some basic necessities that God has hardwired in. Okay. Now, those aren't wrong. For example, food, if I indulge in way too much food, that, I believe, gluttony is a problem, is a sin, and so on, right? So we do have some God-given desires, or lust, if we could say it that way, that God's hardwired in. But we're talking here about things that we want because of us. And look at verse 2. "Ye lust and have not, ye desire and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight in war, ye have not because ye ask not." So this is what James is writing to them. You envy, you covet, you want, you can't have, and you do whatever you can to get, and you don't have because you don't ask. Look at verse 3. "You ask and receive not because you ask amiss, for the wrong reason, that you may consume it upon your lust, just to fulfill your sensual desires." So when they do ask for what they want, they're asking for the wrong reason. So we can envy. We need to be very careful. Israel, let me finish off with this illustration. Israel envied the other nations having a king, and they don't have one. And they wanted a king. And God said, "No, I want to be your ruler." And they said, "No, we want a king." They envied. And God gave them what they wanted. And we know King Saul, if you read about King Saul. And then for the rest of their nationship, they had majority of men who did evil in the sight of the Lord and brought just a heavy burden upon the people, because they looked around and desired to have something that God did not want them to have. So here's one another that we should not do. Yesterday was provoking in a negative way. Today is envying. Envy not one another. We should be able to rejoice when God blesses someone. And then, of course, need to take stock of ourselves. And if God is not blessing us, consider why. Is it just a seasonal thing, or is it a sinful issue that we have in our lives? All right, thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.